on, baby. Tell me, how have you been? We all have missed you. Where you been? Day is necessary. Every now and then, for souls to move on, giving life back again. Fly on, fly on, fly on, my friend. Go on, go on, live life again. Alright, so today we're going to do Life Without You, which is by Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's one of my favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan songs. It's just so cool on the guitar. It sounds great on an acoustic, it sounds great on an electric, and it's just really fun, even if you're playing by yourself. So here we go. Disclaimer, the original key is in A flat. He plays his guitar in a half step down tuning. I am not doing that here, but if you want to play along with the record, what you would do is you would tune your guitar down a half step and then play the chords that we're going to look at today. Okay, or you can keep it in standard tuning. Just won't be able to play exactly with the record. You'd have to kind of use different chords. But anyways, that's the disclaimer. Okay, so this song can essentially be broken up into 3 parts. It's kind of hard to call it a chorus because it's a little bit more convoluted, I think, than that, but let's figure this out. Alright, so the first part's pretty simple because it's only 2 chords. Now there's some cool licks going on here, but it's only 2 chords. It's an A and an F sharp minor. Okay? But when you play the A, I would recommend not doing the bar chord because Stevie Ray Vaughan's got a lot of this hammering on going on, and so it's easier to do that if you use your thumb. Okay, so what that's going to look like here, let's get a little closer to the guitar. You're going to use your thumb to wrap around and grab that low E string at the 5th fret. Then you're going to use your pointer finger. You're going to bar the B and the E string at the 5th fret. Your middle finger is going to go on the 6th fret of the G string, and then your ring finger is going to go on the 7th fret of the D string. Alright, so that's how you're going to start the song, with an A chord. And that's the strum. Kind of you let that low E ring out, and then down strums. Alright, and so here's what you want to do to kind of sound a little bit like, Stevie Ray, which is, if we can sound anything like him, that's a good day. There's some hammering on here going on. So what you can do, 2 things. You can use your pinky and hammer on and pull off with that 7th fret of the G back to the 6th fret, so you're not moving anything. And that's pretty cool. So you go. Or you can use your ring finger to kind of come down and do that same hammering on to the 7th fret of the D string. Either way, it's fine. And you can kind of play around with it. You don't have to sound exactly like the record if you don't want to. But just having that hammering on it is pretty cool. Alright, so he goes from that, and then he's going to do a quick walk down to an F sharp minor. Okay? What I mean by this quick walk down is you strum each chord once. You strum an A, and then what you're going to do is you're going to strum a G sharp minor. What that is you're going to take your thumb, you're going to wrap it all the way to the 4th fret of the low E, then you're going to bar from the D all the way to the high E on the 4th fret, and then you're going to use your ring finger to grab the 6th fret of the D string. Okay, so that's that chord. Now you're going to take that same shape, and you're just going to slide it down 2 frets to the 2nd fret, and that's your F sharp minor. So again, then it'd be like this. Then we do our little walk down to our F sharp minor. Alright, so that's going to happen twice. Now, there's ways you can spice up this F sharp minor while you're staying on it for a minute. And that's just some hammer-ons. So what you would do is, with your shape still intact, you're going to take your ring finger and just start hammering on to the second fret, or excuse me, the fourth fret of the G, and the fourth fret of the D. And just kind of play around with that. Get your middle finger to help you out too if you'd like. And you can even grab the fourth fret of the A as well. As long as you're kind of playing in that box, you're fine. And then you're back to the A. Okay? So that's the first part. Alright, so let's do our walk down. Back to the A again. And then do your walk down again. Alright, and then the second section goes like this. Go back to your A. But instead of doing our walk down, here's what we're gonna do. Alright, so this is actually a walk up. Now it's the same shape. You're not changing anything. You're just taking this and going. So that's the first part. So what that is taking that same shape, you're gonna slide it up 2 frets to grab a B chord. You're playing it passing, so you just kind of strum once. And then you're going to take that same shape, go up another fret to a C chord, and then you finish going up to the 9th fret with a C sharp major there. So again, that's A, D, C, C sharp real quick, and then you're going to stick on that one for a little bit, and then you're going to go up one more fret to the D. And notice, I'm doing the same shape I was doing with the A. Let your pinky kind of hammer on and off. And if you need a reminder, the pinky's always going to hammer on and off to the G string on the same fret that your ring finger is on. Okay, so in this case, if it's a C sharp minor, your ring finger is on, excuse me, C sharp major. Your ring finger is going to be on the 11th fret of the D, and you can kind of do some hammer-ons and off onto that G string of the 11th fret as well. Alright, you're on the D chord, so we got on the D chord, and now you're going to do a walk down. So you strum the D, back to you, go down, or excuse me, yeah, down 1 fret to the C sharp, and then you're going to land on the B. You're going to skip the C. Okay, so land on the B, and you're going to do a little lick here. It's actually a lick in B minor. I'm not a music theory person, so if you want to put in the comments why that works, I'm not sure. I'm sure it has something to do with some shared notes with the F sharp minor, but if you know it, put it in the comments, let me know. But anyways, when you hit that B, what you're going to do is then after you hit the B, you're going to bend up a half step from the G string on the 9th fret. So you bend up on the 9th fret of the G string, and then you rake up while you're barring the 7th fret of the B and the high E. Then you're going to bend up a half step on the 10th fret of the B. Bring it back to the 7th fret of the B. And then just kind of, last thing you're going to do is another half step bend on the G of the 9th fret and land on that 7th fret of the G. And end with your last note on the 9th fret of the D. So it's... And really, any kind of variation in B minor there, those from like the D down to the high E, you're probably going to be fine. So however you want to do it. All right, and then you get to the third and final section. And it's the same thing. Notice it starts the same way as the second section. So it's the A, B, C, C sharp, walk up. And guess what? We're going to the D. This is why the only place it's different. You're going to end, rather than doing that walk down, you're going to end with this. Alright, so what is that? That's technically an E chord. You could just play a regular E chord if you wanted to, but I like to do this. So what that is you are going to play open E, and then you're going to bar the 9th fret of the A, D, and G strings. And then you're going to use your ring finger to hammer on to the 11th fret of the A. You're going to hammer on to the 11th fret of the A and play those. And then you can do hammer on to the 11th fret of the D, pull off, hammer on to the 11th fret of the A again, pull off, and then you're going to grab with your pinky the 12th fret of the E, and then end by hammering back on to the 11th fret of the A, right? So that's kind of confusing. It's like, and then you're ready to go right back into the song. And then as far as like if you do some solo breaks, you can always do anything in like F sharp minor and just kind of feel it out a little bit, like, you know. Alright, so that's basically the whole song, and it kind of just repeats itself, and then there's a solo break and all of that. But if you know those three parts and you listen to the song, you kind of put it all together, kind of feel it out. Now, always remember, you don't have to play everything exactly like Stevie Ray Vaughan did. If you want to throw some of your own licks in there, go for it. But that's kind of the structure of it. So I hope that helps, and let me know in the comments below.